Finally, we're ending the hour with a curtain call, your front row seat to Broadway and beyond. And this morning, we are taking you to one of the newest musicals on Broadway, The Heart of Rock and Roll. It is a jukebox musical featuring the songs of Huey Lewis and the News. The plot is not about the band, rather, the show uses their music to tell a fictional story set, of course, in the 80s, about a couple of 20-somethings chasing their dreams. And naturally, it features many, many hits, including Do You Believe in Love, This Is It, and Hip to Be Square. And we are so lucky to be joined this morning by the Huey Lewis. We're going to call this Huey Lewis on the News, along with Jonathan Abrams, who wrote the book for the show. Good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to be here.
Huey, what does it mean for you, this sort of new chapter, to have these songs that we have loved for decades now on a Broadway stage in this musical?
Well, it's wonderful. I mean, it's a lovely gift, you know. It's particularly gratifying to see these songs have this other life, you know, and be used in this other way. You feel kind of proud of your songs like they were children or something, you know. So it's been a lot of fun.
You know, some people don't know this, but you revealed a few years ago that because of an inner ear syndrome, you've lost a lot of your hearing, which means you're not able to play music. What has this process of being able to do the musical meant for you?
Well, that's true. I mean, it was 7 years ago I lost my hearing, and you know, it was devastating for 6 months. I spent 6 months in bed, really, and you know, lost weight and worried and tried all kinds of protocol. But the show has really been a salvation for me. It's given me something to be creative with and to stay busy and frankly, take my mind off my crappy hearing.
Jonathan, what has it been like for you to work with Huey on this?
Well, growing up, Huey Lewis was my musical idol. And so the opportunity just to meet him, which was the, origins of this, I just wanted a meeting with Huey Lewis to pitch him my story of how I could take his songs and fashion them into a story. And now to be here a decade later, friends, colleagues, it's a dream come true.
That's the thing, too, about jukebox musicals is, the music is written, the lyrics are there. So the fun, but also the challenge is you have to try and find a story with those lyrics to tie them all together. How does that process work?
That process works by writing down all the lyrics to your songs, pasting them on note cards on my wall, and then finding words that popped out at me, recurring themes, working. Hip. Power, love, heart. And then you put all those together.
You forgot soul.
And soul. You put them all together and suddenly a story starts to emerge.
And by the way, I think that's a little too simple. John, the book is the key to our show because it's funny. And John is a great writer, and it's funny. And it was funny from day one. And, funny is kind of harder to do than dark sometimes. You got to be smart to be funny. And John is, from day one, his very first draft was fantastic. And we're now, 9 drafts later or something?
I think I checked. It's actually 62 drafts.
62 drafts, my goodness. Is that how many drafts of your songs were there usually?
Well, we did a few.
One of the interesting conversations I think you had is what songs go in the show, because you had to make tough choices to cut a popular song or two, but at the same time, there were some songs that maybe a lot of folks weren't super familiar with that you told him, no, this should be in the show, even if you were skeptical, right?
Well, no, this is John and our producer, Tyler Mitchell, who know the music really well, and they know the early stuff. And so it was their idea to take kind of a deep dive in some of these songs. And interestingly, certain songs emerge in our show as being the favorites, and there were songs that hardly anybody ever heard. Give Me the Keys, The Only One. These are highlights of our show that most people have, the record didn't sell at all.
And for you, it was just like, no, these songs need to go in. They help the story.
It was always about what was best for the story. And Huey was so gracious in saying, okay, well, if Heart and Soul doesn't make sense in the story, then we're not going to use it, even though it was a big hit. Conversely, The Only One, maybe not a big hit, but it worked so well for the story we needed to tell. And he said, okay, try it.
And I love for the audience, maybe they're experiencing some of these songs for the first time, which is great. This is not your first dance with Broadway. You actually played Billy Flynn on Chicago many years ago. What was that experience like? How does this compare?
Well, that experience was amazing. I was Billy Flynn, number 31. I told them they should have had numbers on the tuxedo. But I didn't know from Broadway growing up. I'm a rock and roller, and I thought, But I was offered the part, and my son was going to NYU at the time, and I visited my kid. I said, let's just go see the show. We went to see it. I fell in love with it. I thought to myself, if I don't try to do this, I'll never forgive myself. So I accepted and fell in love with everything that is Broadway. The talent, the people. It's really the people, isn't it? And the collaborative nature of it all makes it really a wonderful experience.
I love that you were number 31 because the show's still on Broadway right now, so I don't even know how many Billy Flynn's they must be on right now.
They must be in their 50s by now.
Exactly. 62? Yeah, 62, just like the drafts. There you go. Overall, I mean, I love the fact that when you even just read the reviews for the show, they're just telling folks, you are going to go and you are going to have fun. And we need that. There's amazing shows on Broadway right now, but some of them get very serious. Some of them can be a little dark. What is it you want people to know about seeing this show?
Well, it's fun and funny. And, the show will not change your life, but it will change your evening. And that's really what we're after. We're after a wonderful evening. And Lord knows with the news that you read today, couldn't we all use 2.5 hours of entertainment?
Absolutely. Jonathan, what do you hope folks take away from the show?
I'll tell you a story. So 2 weeks ago at the show, I saw a family there, grandma, mom, and son and his son. So 4 generations in one family all saw the show together, age 5 to 94. And they all had a great time, and they found me afterwards because they learned that I wrote the thing. And they told me we had a wonderful time together as a family, and I was so overwhelmed by that.
Something everyone in the family can have in common is their love of Huey Lewis. We love you guys, too. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You can catch The Heart in Rock and Roll playing now at the James Earl Jones Theater in Manhattan.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.